Hi guys and welcome to Prediction Week 17, and we start with the lunchtime kick-off tomorrow at 12:30, which is Liverpool versus Watford. I think this is going to be quite an easy fixture for Liverpool, who again are the champions for me for this season. And I'm going to go for a comfortable win. It is at Anfield as well. I'm going to go Liverpool 3, Watford 0. On to the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we have Chelsea versus Bournemouth, and again I'm going to go for a comfortable win for Chelsea. They had a little bit of a dip, maybe 2 or 3 weeks running, but they seem to have got back to winning. Winning ways. So I'm going to go Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 0. We then have quite an interesting fixture. We have Sheffield United versus Aston Villa. Again, obviously, Aston Villa taking a beating to Leicester last Sunday. I actually, to be honest with you, didn't actually see that one coming. I thought that Aston Villa would have given them more run for their money. But it was just a walk in the park for Leicester in the end. I think this is going to be a different kind of fixture for Aston Villa tomorrow, going up against Sheffield United. I think let's take like the likes of Liverpool and Man City and Leicester, out of the equation. And I think that Aston Villa are actually a very good side. And I think apart from via them 3 teams, I think that Aston Villa could probably more or less go up against anybody, toe-to-toe with anybody, and actually give them a good game on the day. I don't actually think Aston Villa's a bad side. Sheffield United will cause them problems as well. And as I said, I think this is going to be quite a tight, tough game. Might be quite enjoyable to watch as well. So I'm going to go Sheffield United 1, Aston Villa 1. We then have Leicester versus Norwich again. I can't see any problems for Leicester in this fixture. I know I said last week they'd have to work for their goals, with Aston Villa, but I think they've proven now that they really are a force. And I think if I'm correct, I think they've actually won 9 out of 9, 8 out of 8, something like that. So again, Norwich might have a little bit of a go, but Leicester's too strong for me. So Leicester 3, Norwich 1. We then have Burnley versus Newcastle. Again, Newcastle seem to have turned things around. Good old Steve Bruce. And again, I'm going to go for a comfortable victory for Newcastle. I'm going to go Burnley 0, Newcastle 2. At 5:30, we have Southampton versus West Ham. Again, this is going to be quite a different fixture. West Ham just coming up against Arsenal, losing 3-1 to Arsenal as well. I suppose in a way they can consider themselves a little bit unlucky, because they could have been out of sight in the first half. But then on the flip side of that, you've got to take your chances. They didn't, and they got punished for it. Southampton, again, they've not been great this season. I think West Ham will make life hard for themselves, but I think West Ham will win this one. So I'm going to go Southampton 1, West Ham 2. On to the Sunday fixtures. At 2 o'clock, we have Manchester United versus Everton. Obviously, Manchester United coming off 2 victories, beating Tottenham. I think it was midweek action, and then Manchester City last week. And to be fair, for a good half an hour, Manchester United absolutely dominated Manchester City. I don't even think Manchester City could get out of their own half. But again, this is a different kind of approach. I think Everton, they had a good victory last week against Chelsea, if I remember correctly. Actually, they lost 3-1 Chelsea last week, didn't they, to Everton? So again, I think Everton could cause some problems to Manchester United. I don't think they're good enough to beat Manchester United, but I think getting that victory against Chelsea last week has given them some confidence, and I think that they can, get something at Old Trafford on Sunday. And let's not forget, this is what Manchester United actually do. They get 2 good results, 2 fantastic results. Beating Tottenham, beating Manchester City, and then they'll go, no disrespect, but then they'll go up against an Everton side that haven't been doing great recently, and they'll draw or they'll lose a 1-0 or something like that. So they still haven't convinced me completely yet, Manchester United. And so for that, I'm going to go Manchester United 1, Everton 1. The other 2 o'clock game on Sunday is Wolves versus Tottenham. Again, I think Wolves will cause a couple of problems for Tottenham, being as though it's at home. But I think that Tottenham will see it through. I'm going to go Wolves 1, Tottenham 2. At 4:30, we have Arsenal versus Manchester City. And again, I'm going to shock the world here. I think that maybe beating a poor West Ham side last week, and let's be honest, they are quite poor West Ham. Yes, they were dominating us, but we've been a poor Arsenal side, for the past 9-10 games. So I always said it only had to be one click, for everything all to come together, for Arsenal. And we seen that for a good half an hour on Monday night. And Manchester City haven't been great. I think if we can get at them and actually go for the game, I think Arsenal can nick this one. We are at home. And let's shock the world. Let's go Arsenal 1, Manchester City 0. I'm being brave, but I'm going for it. And on the Monday night football, we have Crystal Palace versus Brighton at 7:45. It's usually 8 o'clock, isn't it, on a Monday? But and again, I'm going to go for a tight draw in this one. I'm going to go Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 1. So that is my predictions for this weekend, guys, and I will see you next week for next week's predictions. Thank you for watching, guys.